of you, he is one of the busiest professors I met in my life. He is advisor for the World Trade Center in Mumbai. He is professor at the University of Europe at the Gisma. He consults the Cultural Parliament of Europe. So just a miracle that he is here. Professor Vivek, please join me right here. Okay, because I need to do this a little bit further than it works. So Vivek, first of all, before we talk about these issues about the young fellas, you have invited a lot of them. It was quite interesting because you are teaching, which is rarely in Europe at all. You are teaching disruption and innovation on universities, to companies, to whatever. When you have been the first time here, you said some quite interesting things, but put it in your words. What was your first impression?
Thank you, Andy, to be a part of the eROCKIT. This is almost, I've been coming here regularly of late because we had many students who've been constantly coming here. They wanted to come down, see this now. Where did this journey begin from? Let me just put it this way. I met Harald Slab. And then from Harald Slab, I just came down here. And then he mentioned about eROCKIT. And then after the eROCKIT motorcycle that I saw, I was quite curious about this because we're talking a lot about electric vehicles. We're talking a lot about the future. If I go down to the universities, we talk about the flying cars, which is again, that's one of the interesting. And then there's a startup called as Lilium, which is coming down with flying cars. That was surprising. And then if you notice, I saw this eROCKIT, and then there was something which was very unique inside eROCKIT. It was entirely a different concept. And then I put it down on my platforms, and then like people approach me from India stating that we are interested in this and we would like to take up localized manufacturing for this. Can you please reach out to him and ask how this works and everything? And that's what, if you notice, made me to first walk in over here, meet Andy and talk about this. And I'm a person who drives usually the heavy motorcycles. I sat in this because I was thinking, come on, it's at least like I've driven the bigger ones now. What is this going to be there? The first time I drive this, that's when I realized that this motorcycle drives at a speed of 100. It touches 100, and don't take it as a bicycle. But still, if you notice, I was really not sure where do I put this, whether is it a bicycle or is it a motorcycle. And then I started moving to the universities. I started meeting students. We started different students from engineering backgrounds, business backgrounds. They started seeing this. Where does this stay inside the market? Is this going to have a future? If so, if it has a future, where does it come inside? Because today we are speaking a lot about motorcycles, the electric vehicles, but the electric vehicles have a problem with the batteries. That's where the Chinese batteries have come down. There is a lot of, it doesn't stay long, and that's why if you notice many markets are having this worry. That time, if you notice, we started having this talks. Different university students came down. They said that like we're working on the promotional project out of this. We're working on the technical project. Even right now, one of my students who was here, he said like, why don't we improvise like this? And then when I met you, Andy, you said, what are all the new ideas that you have in the future? That's when I realized that, yes, there is a clarity which is there of the founder. Thereby, he doesn't have, one of the things is he wants to disrupt the market. The second thing is he has a plan B, plan C when it comes to the products itself. Out of this product, the second product, the third product, the fourth product, the fifth product. So thereby, as a firm, he has a clear vision where he wants to take this inside. Now, I have many things to put this out. When I need to put this out, where does this product come down? I was just talking to Matthias, and I was sharing Matthias the same thing, which he said this. And I said that, I always say this, that there are 4 important factors which drive a firm. One of that is a product has to be a rare product. A rare product is something which is always the one which is going to be the most preferred product inside the market. The second one is a product needs to be this is a rare product. Why I call this as a rare product is every product usually comes down with a throttle. Now, if you notice, this product wants to try something innovative. That's where I put this into a rare product. The second thing is it's a value product. Now, what do I call this as a value product is basically the German engineering has a value. It's still around the world when I go down to India and I say that it's German engineering, people are willing to trust and purchase this. Now, this is the same in majority of the countries, Southeast Asian markets, Latin American markets. When we say German engineering, you can set the price higher. The third thing which comes inside is a product should not be easily imitated. Now, this is where, again, if you notice, patents, copyrights, it's a product which is designed, thereby it has the patents and everything. The fourth one is it cannot be easily substituted. Obviously, this is an electric vehicle. The electric vehicles are the future because of many reasons. Oil prices going higher, the wars which are happening, and the adoption of the new technology which is happening. This is where I would put this as there are certain advantages which I put this across as a competitive factor.
Thank you very much for that introductory, Vivek, and thank you very much for saying that I have a plan. First time there is somebody who realized I really have a plan. Thank you very much. So, coming back to the students, how would you position this value that we have really a strong interaction with all these young fellas and that we have plans now for the future with all these young people? I mean, that we need to deal with them, I think is clear. But for example, at my time in America, the connection between companies, university students was much more closer. And here, it's absolutely, I'm not doing any marketing here. It changes just with you. But what is the value and how important do you see that we have a strong interaction with the students, that more students will do a thesis here, master thesis, bachelor, whatsoever, work here, and I still have people who started even as an internship here. Anand, for example, my project manager, he's on a 2 days vacation, otherwise he would be here, started as an intern. How do you see that for, let's say, not toward the students, but towards the German guests, that we do this? How important is it, and are you thinking we're doing the right thing?
Since I've been associated with the universities, I get this opportunity to meet students of all the ages, especially from the 16 to 25 to 35, 40, almost like I do meet across. What I really learn from them is that 16 to 20 or 25 is the best age for criticizing a product because they do not have money. That's one of the main factors. And they are totally interested inside the product and the technology, and they have the adrenaline. So they love to explore and comment what a product is usually all about. Now, there have been a lot of comments that came inside when we had eROCKIT around with students. Students said that, why isn't this a double-seater? Because I don't want to just drive alone. I want to take my girlfriend as well. And thereby, I want to drive at that full fast, which is the speed. And then I realized I had girls driving this product. They said, wow, this is something which really challenges. And again, the age group that falls inside for this is somewhere around 16, 17 onwards to 25 is an age group that loves this. Now, obviously, when an age group goes to around 40 or 45 above, they would definitely prefer the super bikes, which is like the Harleys and the Indian and everything which is there. Now, there is a particular age group that it's bound to open, which is from the age of 16, 17 onwards to 25. Now, that's the age group that loves to pedal. That's the age group that loves to, now two things comes inside. It's an electric vehicle, so both the genders comes inside. The male gender, the female gender. So thereby, it's going to open a bigger market. The other thing is, obviously, when they did come down with different suggestions, which is, why don't we have it as a double-seater? But many times, one of the things that I've noticed with the students' comments was, before they sat inside the vehicle, they felt that, how is this vehicle? I can balance this, I can easily control this. But the moment they drove the hyper bike, I think the hyper bike is the best word to put this. When they drove the bike, that's the time they felt that, no, this is a bike which we need to take it up much seriously, and we need to drive this with that speed as a part which is there. And there were, in fact, few students who came down with few beautiful suggestions. In fact, I invited them to come today also. They said, why don't we have a little bit of new technologies inside this, like the motion detection?
Yeah.
Now, why can't it's easy to bring it inside? Like, why can't we just adopt a motion detection? Now, this is where these are the ideas that I actually learn from when I meet students and the product inside.
Very interesting. Last question. In one of our meetings, you mentioned something, Andy, important is that you see this work with the young fellows not over a time period of a year or 2 or 3. You even mentioned a much more longer time. So is that your thing? Because for me, it's clear these young fellows are the chairmen of the future.
I totally agree, because like when we go down to the universities, when we take them to the product, to take the product to the universities and the students, they are the people who are actually seeing this, that where the product is going to be. And they are very open. They tell that whether we like the product, we don't like the product. And when we don't like the product, they tell that across that we want this to be like this. And that's where like what happens once we bridge together. This is where I always put this, that the university industry interaction is very important, because when we bridge together, there is usually a connect. And as you mentioned down, I remember Andy, one of the things that when I met Andy, every time he puts down is the word disruptive. And if you notice that when we mention the word disruptive, disruption itself is something that begins from the low cost disruption or a technological disruption, but then it begins from largely from people who do not have money, and which is again the students' face which is coming inside. Now, where we bridge this between the industry and the academia is students giving ideas, students working together, consulting together, and from there we learn across that like how to bring inside the people who can connect down with the industries, because you will design a product, but you will be absolutely out of context with what the real public really wants. So once you connect with the real public, which is the students and the young crowd, that's where the suggestions comes from them to you, and then you can always take the product to reach out to a bigger market indeed. So.
Thank you very much. Then we are Fragenamen. If there are any questions, I would do that right now, and then I would come to our next guest. So if there is a question, maybe we have an answer. There is a gentleman right there, please.
At which university you are teaching?
I'm teaching with the Fresenius University. I'm teaching with the University of Europe. I'm teaching with the ISM, International School of Management, Gisma University. And I'm also doctoral supervisor for many students for different universities.
But which country? In India or in Germany?
In Germany. In Germany. Now these are all the many students over here from different universities. And yes.
Okay, so then thank you very much, Vivek. So, I will come to my next guest. Just put it right there. Thank you very much.